Oh my god, guys.
Uh,
Why the fuck did you pop up? That's
Maybe we should have made the ghost the showrunner today.
weird. Maybe. Like, I don't know what's going on, guys. I really don't. My
There it
headphones have been
goes.
fine. What's up, everyone? Thank you guys for so much for being here. I apologize for the technical issues, but it's being stupid. Being dumb.
Here's Ron with the 5
Oh my
gifted
god,
members.
life with Ron with the 5 gifted members.
Psycho Ghost Tracker's got one.
Hey,
Maybe they'll come in.
maybe they will. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so happy you guys to be here. I'm sorry for the technical issues. I
We're
apologize.
good now, though.
Okay.
It's the ghost's fault.
I was getting yelled at by the ghost in the ghost box. I was getting yelled at by Lady Reaper. I was getting yelled at by everyone else in the world. And I dropped the fucking ball, okay? I dropped the goddamn fucking ball. But it's okay.
Right, Ron? I saw that too. And Kali.
All right.
Maybe he can give us an update on Jumba.
Maybe. Well, those that haven't seen us before, we are Lolcow Wonderland. We stream on 2 different channels. Lady Reaper, which a lot of people are there, and Mayan, Lolcow Asylum. Find us on YouTube, Kick and Beam. I think we are streaming to Kick. I'm not too sure. Oh, we are. Yes, we are.
I was gonna say, you never know.
We Gucci. We're Gucci.
I just want to say one thing.
What?
The ghost said following, and Asylum's subscriber count went up one.
That is true. I'm not too sure. That might be a fluke. You know, that might be some weird ass shit going down. But
So.
see,
I'm
not too sure either. Okay, to tell you the truth, I'm not fucking sure. You know, I'm used to going live and hitting one fucking button. And the new way of doing things, I have to hit 3 different fucking buttons. It's really hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Okay? And I am an old dog and I'm learning new tricks.
You are not that old.
Mad Hatter Live, hello on Kick, my friend. Thank you. All right.
I need to go over here.
What are we gonna fucking talk about tonight? Well, I planned a show. Reaper really didn't know anything about me planning the show, but I planned a show. If you're really
Reaper has mentally been out of it for a few days because she's got some IRL shit going on. So, yeah.
Hopefully, we get through it. It's okay. Whatever. All right, I don't.
But I'm here.
Not meaning you. You know what I fucking meant. All right. Lady Reaper with the 5 gifted memberships.
Oh, Lucy.
Yeah. I love when they give the 5 memberships and you're like, who's watching? Ha! Got you. Well, welcome to our live. As I said, this is Lady Reaper. I am Asylum. Here's a question for you and for the chat. Do you believe in ghosts? Lady Reaper, do you believe in ghosts?
I do.
You do believe in ghosts. All right. Well, we're going to ask your chat. Do you?
Are you putting a poll up? Yeah.
ghosts.
You get random. Watch. Look, I can do it with no hands.
Oh, why is it saying question? Fuck that.
That's one thing I haven't learned how to do is a poll. Of course, ghosts are real. Why would I say ghosts aren't real? I'm a medium.
Yes.
I do them all the time. Some of them beat me to death trying to get in my head.
Listen, I blame Ron. Ron kept me up quite late on a 4-hour fucking stream yesterday. And this fucking ghost thing. Ghost, you're going. Can't fucking type with you there. Okay? You're just gonna have to be over there for a second. Oh, you're gonna scratch me? Go for it, bitch. I dare you. Okay. Poll is starting in the chat. Do you believe in ghosts? I don't get to do polls yet. I'm not monetized.
Not yet.
If if you okay, so you believe in ghosts? Why that poll's running for a little bit? Have you had any paranormal experiences? They're not from here,
Ron,
by the
I'm
way.
sorry, but you done bumped your head if you think I'm getting up at 4:00 in the morning to watch you before I go to work.
Yep.
Sorry. I'm old. I need my sleep. I'll watch you on the replay.
Yeah, you got that right. Rules are different, Ron. Rules are different. So have you had any paranormal experiences?
Every day.
Well, meaning have you tell us one, all right?
Well, spirits contact me all the time to reach out to families, their family members or loved ones.
Where are you going?
I
Listen, you're my third
have
host. You're not going anywhere. Sorry, it told me goodbye.
What did he say? What'd she say?
Be careful.
Be careful what I say. Yeah. Anyway, I have had some rather evil experiences where ones have tried to possess my body. Angel. I am. That's what mediums are, fallen angels. That's what I believe anyway. But yeah, it's not fun with the dark ones. It really isn't. But most of my experiences have been good experiences.
Well,
I try not to see the actual entity itself, but sometimes it happens.
yeah.
I have seen several ghosts shape into actual figures. One scared the crap out of me because it did it unexpectedly and just kind of popped in front of me. And I don't jump
Yeah.
scare easy, but when that happens, yeah. But I mean, there's no particular one that I could tell a story about. Like they all
Well,
just
I
basically
guess I could tell you a story. So I also am. I'm not a medium. I'm not really psychic. I'm impressionable, right? 'Cause I feel feelings.
You're cutting out again.
I can feel feelings and stuff like that, but I'm not. And I receive messages, but I don't. I'm not. I don't call myself a medium. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, even though what's her name from Long Island Medium says I am, because she's like, oh, you have a giant fucking light shooting out of your goddamn head. Oh, cool. But here's the thing. I went to We
Jay.
respect you too, and we're not drunk. I wish I was. But I went
Impact.
to Kentucky to an old what was a Civil War base at one point, and I was going up the stairs, and I had a whole team with us because we were called down there by a client when I used to run. I still technically run. We're still around. We just don't do much. Um, yes, I'm closer to the mic. Chill. Uh, told me to come closer. Um, and so I'm going up the stairs, and like you have to remember these buildings are a couple hundred years old. You know what I mean? You go up the stairs, and you go up, and when you go up, and it just opens to a big, and it has pitch ceilings, and it has the old wood floor. You know what I mean by that?
Hmm.
Um, niece. And so I we're sitting there, and we have a ghost box going, we have EMF going, we have a recording going, we have all these other things going, and nothing's getting picked up, right? And the story that we were told by the people that are there every day and also there at night is that you know, you could hear little footsteps running. And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense because I could feel like a child's energy. And um, so I decided, we brought, because they told us what was going on. So I brought a bunch of like things kids would like, I guess. And one was a little ball, and bowl. And I was like, all right, hey, it's time to play. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's play. You haven't played in a while. What's up, Gamer James in the chat? And I sat down, and I had one of my team members take the ball across the room, and I said, hey, it's time to play. Why don't you push the ball towards me, and I'll push it back. And we Yes, I'm gonna tell that story in a minute. Chill. Um, I'll shut you off. I'll shut you off. Um, and so we were sitting there for like 2, 3 minutes, and I was like, come on, we're going to have to leave soon. If you want to play, you need to push the ball. Well, after I said that, hey, we're going to leave. And if they wanted to play, the ball started rolling towards me. And the ball gets to me. And I said, okay, I'm going to push it back. And I just very gently pushed it back. And it got to where it started, stopped, and then came back. This went on for, no lie, 15 minutes of this ball going back and forth, back and forth. I wish I still had footage of this. Unfortunately, all the footage had to be handed over to the client because of where we were. We had to sign NDAs and all that, but nothing that I'm sharing violates that.
Right.
Um,
Hi, sister.
and I said, okay, it had been 15 minutes. I said, unfortunately, we have to move on. We'll make sure they come up and play with you. So actually, to this day, they actually send someone up there to play with this ball back and forth. And
That's awesome.
on their ghost tours now, they have people that will go up and play with this ball back and forth with this entity, and the entity was fine. We went to another building where there wasn't a very nice entity. And I won't go to the dark side. I won't go to the dark side. There wasn't a very nice entity. The reports of scratching, and different things like that. I'm not sure how either. But so we go in, and you know how when you go into where there's a negative energy and it just feels cold, like you're shivering cold. I was freezing. This isn't the dead. See, correct. I was right. See, even the ghost thinks I'm right. Uh, so I go in and it's cold in this room, and this is the middle of summer, really, right? Or spring. So it was actually really warm. Like in Kentucky, it's fairly warm there. And see, and I'm cold. And I like looked back and I said, "Are you guys freezing? Like, I need a jacket. I need a jacket, my sweatshirt." And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "I'm freezing cold." Um, and they took a temp of it, and it was like probably like 20 degrees difference. The air conditioning wasn't on. There was no fan going. Stuff like that you would think would make you cold. Uh,
Right.
we, actually, what's funny about this is the where we were actually was a bedroom of one of the soldiers that lived on site full time. His bedroom. Creepy. You're creepy. Just saying, you're creepy. Uh, you know where the story is going. He was he was interesting. So this ghost, come to find out, did not like that he was talking to other partners, I guess you could say, right? Or if he had a guest over, he didn't. They didn't like it, and they basically almost took like possession of them, like not physically possession, not spiritually possession, but like their mind. You can't have them, right? And every time he would either have a guest or he was talking with someone, in that type of you know way, he would actually get scratches on his back that he can feel. Um, so me and actually a medium that was there, we ended up getting that entity. We basically said, hey, if you don't want to play game and be nice, you can go. It didn't want to play game. It didn't want to play nice. And 45 minutes later, uh, that entity ended up being pushed out of the of the of the campus where we were. So that yeah, you don't understand much. Uh, I've been getting this thing riled up for like the last 30 minutes, folks. It'll be interesting to see what it tells me. Probably tell me to go fuck myself. But I found it interesting of the polar opposites, right? The nice,
Mhm.
I'm a child, I'm innocent, I'm happy. All I want to do is play, right? I just wanted someone else there with me. Two, um, yeah,
Yeah, they do that.
that does happen. So a lot of people that are paranormal investigators and stuff like that, they'll notice that their camera battery dies out real quick, stuff like that.
That's because
But
they absorb the energy from that device
yep,
to try to make a stronger connection.
yep. Now here's the thing: a lot of people, depending where you live, you or older houses, it usually happens in. You might feel a little weird, like going down in your basement sometimes, right? Or certain parts of your basement. So there are some people that are very what is that word? Very not attuned, but very not allergic, not I can't remember the damn word, but that EMF, the electric magnetic field, uh, life would run with the 5 gifted members. Oh, she told you, huh?
Aw, Steph. Stallion got
Stallion
one.
Show. Welcome to Lady Reaper.
Here.
Jimmy, Ken, friends. Welcome to Lady Reaper. Why don't I just keep going? Brandon, welcome.
That's
Steph.
Jimmy C and friends.
Lolcow Test. I know who you are. But needless to say, sometimes that's such high EMF that's coming over those out of the pipes and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or from electrical currents can help that can make people feel like uneasy or something's there, or I mean, something they just feel off on that time, and that happens in older buildings. That's the reason why you bring an EMF meter, stuff like that. Check before you start your investigation because you don't know. Like, it's not something people check. You check for things like that. Like I don't. I've never been.
No.
But I'm not highly sensitive.
Okay, so to kind of touch on the dark and the light of everything, I have figured out a way to kind of, I guess you could say, put up a shield. So I only let the spirits in that I want to let in.
Mm-hmm.
And I can always tell whether it's a light spirit trying to contact me or a dark spirit. Because the light spirits will sit there and pitter patter on my head, to basically knocking. The dark spirits, though, it feels like my head is being crushed. And I try really hard to block those out because those are the mean ones. Those are the ones that will pick you up and throw you across the room. Those are the ones that'll throw things at you, try to stab you, which has happened to me. I was in a very haunted house.
So remember, I was leaving that girl. I make it a point, at least when I'm ghost hunting, that people that are with me leave the room before I do.
Yes.
Right, and they're heading down the stairs, and I start to head down. I know it is your place, and you're welcome to be here. You just have to follow the rules, or you're gone. Plain and simple. So I was going down the stairs following the team, right? And they got to the landing before I did, before I started from the top, right? This was like the 3rd floor. Well, yeah, third floor ish. And I start going down, doot, 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 doot. And I get halfway down the flight of stairs, and it feels like something came up behind me and just went boom.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally fell down the stairs. Oh, look.
Mm-hmm.
If you step forward enough, they might be able to see you. Maybe. We'll see. Actually, you know what I could do in my camera? This. It's gonna look weird to you guys, but it's gonna kind of interesting.
While he's finishing that, I was in a very haunted house. Like, it had several different entities in there. Some of them were stuck there because the evil ones were keeping them there. And
Okay, I'll lower my voice.
they wanted me and a couple of the people that I hung out with that had the same gifts as me to go in and kind of cleanse it to see if we could get rid of them. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I don't do all of that, like with the sage and all of that stuff. it's really hard to get rid of an evil entity. Very hard to get rid of an evil entity. Saging the house and blessing the house does not help.
Just a devil.
So you have to be very careful how you do it and protect the not so evil ones. And when I went in there, I got to the door. I was in the door frame and you could see my breath. And I was like, he's already trying to attach to me. I don't know if I can do this. My friend was sitting there and she did something and then he moved away and it wasn't cold anymore. So I knew he wasn't trying to attach to me. But I walked in and this is how we found out the hard way that the strongest one is supposed to leave last. We did what we needed to do, thought we got the evil ones gone, but there was still one more in there hiding, like not coming out. And it was the one that I felt at the door. Accident. Yep, accident. My friend's like, you guys go, I'll grab the last few things and I'll be out. We all left, me being the strongest one out of all of us, should have been the last one to leave. She comes out, gets in the car, and we're driving down the road. And I look in the rearview mirror and she's sitting in the middle and she opens her eyes and they're completely black. Like completely black. So I told my friend, I said, pull over. We pulled over, got her out of the car, and tied her to a fence post. Because he wasn't acting yet, but we knew he was going to. She asked me, she goes, what's going on? I go, look at her eyes. I go, next time I leave last. But we ended up thinking that we got rid of it, and we didn't. And push came to shove, and unfortunately, my friend didn't make it. It ended up driving her so crazy that, yeah. So that's why I said I try not to remember every encounter that I've had, but that one sticks out the most. And it's really hard to see your friends go through that and not be able to do anything about it.
Yeah,
So
it sucks.
because even when you expel a spirit that has possessed you or attached to you, the mental strain that you go through after is really hard. Like if you're not a strong-minded person, it'll take you. It'll take you under. And that's what it did to my friend. So
all right.
that's the scary part about ghosts and spirits. You never know what kind of spirit you're dealing with, whether it's a wraith or a poltergeist or just your common ghost that likes to just torment you, which I found out those are usually friends that have passed or family members that have passed or the ghosts that want to basically fuck with you. They'll sit there and move something that is everybody that I've lost, knows I have OCD. So there'll be times where I know exactly where something is and I come out and it's gone.
I love those. So I have a
Pidgey. I hope the ghosts that haunt me got big ass titties.
I have a ghost that's quite friendly. And I think it must be like my grandfather or something. I'm not too sure what it is. But he's really nice. If I'm stressed out or I'm just kind of like I need something. You know what I mean? He will sit at the bottom of my bed and read me bedtime stories. So there have been multiple times where I've woken up and saw this fucking guy sitting at the bottom of my bed reading me a fucking bedtime story. He understands. Yeah, no, not many people understand that. I would agree with you. But he's always been friendly, no issues. So he stays. And he's followed me ever since, I don't know, had to been since I was a kid. I at first thought he was a monster in my closet. And then it stopped for a while, probably because he realized he was probably scaring me.
Mhm.
And so, but it picked back up and we're cool. We chill. Well, so one of the places that we kind of want to look at is, many people know this from the books that Stephen King has wrote, called The Shining. It is a famous place here in the United
My
States, famous place here
thing
in Colorado. I live about 45 minutes ish drive to there. One time, a friend of mine is really big into Halloween, paranormal. Matter of fact, we run conventions together. One time, I don't know what was happening, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take him up to Stanley. I didn't tell him we were going there. Literally, we went to pick up now his wife, and he's like, okay, where are we going? And I said, well, you should probably put Estes Park in your GPS. And he was really excited. We got to go up to the Stanley Hotel and walk around and stuff like that. This it's this video is kind of funny. It comes from the Insomni cult. Never heard of it, but we're gonna watch it.
Ron,
Oh,
we need to go on a road trip to Colorado. We're gonna go
right.
see Asylum and we're gonna go see the Stanley Hotel.
Pop that so you guys are gonna be able to hear that.
The Stanley Hotel's massive oak doors and the scent of polished wood mixes with something far older. Something that hums quietly beneath the surface. The chandeliers glint like watchful eyes, and your footsteps echo along the grand hallway. Somewhere a single piano key strikes, a hollow note that lingers too long, teasing you. A shadow flickers at the edge of your vision, gone before you can confirm it exists. The hotel is breathtaking by day, opulent and inviting. But at night, it remembers. It remembers every guest, every whispered secret, every footfall across its creaking floors. And tonight, it remembers you. In this journey, we'll explore the Stanley Hotel's most haunted corners. First, we'll step into the concert hall, where ghostly melodies drift through the air, soft and teasing, long after the last guest has departed. Then we'll descend into the tunnels, dark veins beneath the hotel, echoing with unseen footsteps.
So let me tell you something. This, where he's talking about those tunnels, the unseen and all that echoing footsteps. I got the privilege one year to go up there. They were having a paranormal convention up there, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll drive up with a couple of friends that were really big into the paranormal, and we went up there, and I got to meet the guys from Taps. I actually have a picture somewhere with him, with one of the guys from Taps, and I got to meet Ryan Bell, which is now I call him a pretty good friend. And what's his name? He's a medium. Oh, starts with a C. Oh my God, it will come to me. I blame Ron.
Steps and whispered secrets. And
That's
finally,
awesome, Pidgey.
we'll confront the heart of the Stanley's legend, Room 217, a room whose reputation for unexplained terror has haunted visitors for over a century. Each location carries its own story, its own spirits, and its brand of mystery. And trust me, you'll want to see room 217 last. There's a reason it's the centerpiece of the hotel's chilling reputation, and we're saving its full story for the end. So if you're ready to wander where the past lingers, the shadows breathe, and the echoes of history refuse to let go, stay with us. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button to join the Insomnical, your gateway to the unexplained, the eerie, and the spine-chilling stories that lurk in the corners of places like the Stanley. The ballroom stretches before you, its grandeur swallowed by the shadows of the night. The polished floors gleaming under the dim light, reflecting the ornate chandeliers that hang like silent sentinels. As you step inside, the faintest echo of piano keys drifts through the air, soft, melancholic, and impossibly distant. The room feels alive with whispers, as if the walls themselves are murmuring secrets of a bygone era. A sudden chill sweeps over you, and you can't shake the feeling that unseen eyes are watching and waiting. The concert hall, a place where the past refuses to remain silent. Guests and staff alike have reported hearing the unmistakable strains of a piano playing in the dead of night, only to find the room empty upon investigation. Some claim it's the spirit of Flora Stanley, Freeland Stanley's wife, who was known to play the piano. Her love for music seems to linger in the air even after all these years. One particularly chilling account comes from a Reddit user who, during a ghost tour, captured a photograph of a ghostly figure seated on a chair in the ballroom. The figure was not visible to the naked eye, but...
So, chat, what do you think? Real, hoax, or just unexplainable? That's what I want to know from you guys about this in particular picture. I mean, what is it? You could see the outline of the person. It looks like a dress, maybe.
Yeah, but what is
also,
blurry is everything looks around it.
yeah, it also looks
It
like someone's sitting here in a dress, and there's someone like about to step off the stage. I don't know, kind
yeah.
of two, maybe.
One could be somebody running away from the shadow.
Could
Because it
could
almost
be.
looks like somebody running across the stage,
Yeah,
the top part of it. And then the bottom, like you said, it looks like somebody sitting right there on the edge of the stage. So it could have popped up in front of somebody and it spooked them and they're trying to run.
yeah.
But
Uncle Pidgey, I love non-believers. I love them. Because so a lot of people go and figure out, oh, I'm gonna just go ghost hunting, right? I'm gonna go to this abandoned house or this graveyard and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I started with my friends. With Zero to Manic and a few of our friends, we started doing things like that. We went to graveyards and stuff like that, but we realized after kind of deepening our research into the paranormal, it's truly a science. And a lot of investigators, believe it or not, are non-believers. They're there to prove this wrong. And then there are some that are believers that are there to capture or to prove that this exists. Non-believers and believers, specifically on a paranormal team, is very important because you have two very different outlooks on what you're seeing and what the evidence is showing. At least that's what I believe.
appeared clearly in the photograph, adding weight to the tales of spectral presences in the room. Another guest shared their experience.
I was the last person to leave a room on a ghost tour in the Stanley.
So remember when I said it, I got to go to the Stanley Hotel, and it was for that paranormal. Well, Chip Coffee was his name. Chip Coffee, Ryan Bell, the guys from Taps. We were just hanging out on the porch, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do a ghost hunt tonight, just kind of like the four of us. Do you want to join?" You know, and I was like, "Fuck yes."
Right?
Absolutely. Like what? What? I was speechless. I totally fangirled. Uh, and um, I'm gonna end that poll. 80% of your viewers believe in ghosts. 20% say not a chance. They don't belong. So we were down actually in this area, and we had a ghost box, or a spirit box they call it, but it's a different one that like plays on radio stations, and that kind of just like filters through and is moving so fast and you don't hear it until an entity uses it and like basically stops it and manipulates the radio frequencies to speak through.
Hey, Jimmy, how you been?
And one of the girls that we were there and we were sitting there and we're just chit-chatting and we're asking questions and it's responding and we're going back and forth. Well, the last question we asked before we all decided to leave this area, the girl asked, "Do you know that you're dead?" And the spirit box, as clear as I am speaking to you today, folks, says, "No, you are."
Ooh,
That's just
That's
fucking
good.
creepy. We all decided at that point in time we were leaving. These are people that do this for a living, right? This is
Mhm.
people that do this, you know, and get paid by networks and people and organizations to do this, and they all decided we out, so we
Time to
left.
go.
Basement years ago, and the door closed by itself behind me like someone had yanked it shut.
This incident highlights the eerie happenings that often accompany visits to the ballroom, where the line between the living and the dead seem to blur. But the ballroom is not the only place where the hotel holds its secrets. Beneath your feet lies a network of tunnels, dark and winding, where guests have reported even more unsettling encounters. Are you ready to descend into the depths and uncover what lies beneath? As you descend a narrow staircase, the wooden steps groaning beneath your weight, the air grows cooler, damp with the scent of stone and forgotten years. Darkness presses close, swallowing the edges of your vision. Each step echoes through the tunnels like a heartbeat that isn't yours. Somewhere in the shadows, a footstep, soft and deliberate, mirrors your own. A faint whisper curls around your ear, too low to comprehend yet impossible to ignore. The walls seem to breathe, and somewhere deeper, a distant laughter bounces back at you, fragile and hollow.
This is no
Your
longer on the
flashlight
tour,
trembles in your
by
hand,
the way.
as though the very air conspires to keep the tunnel's secrets hidden. You feel a presence just beyond the beam of your light, patient, observant, and waiting to see if you will remember it when you leave. The tunnels beneath the Stanley were originally designed for staff to move unseen between areas of the hotel, but over the years they've developed a reputation all their own. Visitors have reported cold spots that make their skin crawl, whispering voices that seem to echo off the walls, and fleeting shadows darting just out of sight. One visitor recounted,
I was walking through the tunnels alone during a late tour when I felt a hand brush against my shoulder. I spun around, but no one was there. My heart raced for the rest of the way back up to the lobby.
Another shared a curious, unnerving experience.
The footsteps behind me kept pace with my own. Every turn I made, the echo followed. It was like the hotel itself was guiding me, or watching me.
Paranormal investigators have recorded anomalies here, unexplained temperature drops, faint breathing sounds, and even captured orbs on camera. Some guests leave with only a fleeting chill, while others report a sense of being followed long after they've left the tunnels. Yet the tunnels are only a taste of the Stanley spectral presence. Above ground, waiting at the end of the hall, is the infamous Room 217. a place that has inspired terror and fascination for over a century. What happens behind that door is more intense, more intimate, and far more unsettling than the tunnels or the ballroom. As you open the doors to the massive ballroom, the chandelier glimmer as their lights flicker, casting elongated shadows that seem to twist and sway on their own. The polished floors reflect more than just your image. It shows movement that you cannot explain. A piano stands in the corner, grand and untouched, yet the faintest notes float through the air, teasing your senses. You feel drawn to it, compelled to follow the melody, and then the air thickens, presses against your chest like the hands of unseen dancers, guiding you, whispering, reminding you that you're not alone. Somewhere the laughter of children echoes, faint yet unmistakable, darting between the walls and disappearing into corners where your flashlight cannot reach. The ballroom breathes, and you realize that it remembers every event, every guest, every sorrow. The Stanley Ballroom has been at the heart of countless reports of paranormal activity. Guests often mention hearing delicate piano music, soft and melancholy, drifting through the otherwise empty hall. Many attribute these ghostly melodies to Flora Stanley, the hotel founder's daughter, whose love for the piano appears undiminished by time. One visitor describes their experience vividly. I was standing near the stage, watching the chandelier sway slightly as if moved by unseen hands. Then I heard a piano playing in the corner. No one was there, and the notes were perfect and sorrowful. Staff have occasionally witnessed shadowy figures in the corner of the room, bending and bowing as if rehearsing an invisible waltz. Others have felt the chill of a presence sweeping past, even when the doors were firmly closed. Over the decade, these consistent accounts have given the ballroom a reputation of elegance haunted by lingering memories. The ballroom, with its soaring ceilings and polished floors, is more than a relic of luxury. It's a stage of echoes, a place where the past celebrations and lingering spirits intermingle, sometimes playful, sometimes unnerving. But even the ballroom cannot hold the depth of fear that waits beyond the halls, beyond the door of room 217. There, the counters are intimate, personal, and unrelentingly unnerving. The whispers of the tunnels and the melodies of the ballroom are only preludes. Are you ready to face the room that inspired terror itself? The hallway narrows as you approach.
So, chat, what I need you to do is pay attention, and at the end, you need to let us know, would you spend the night in room 217?
Room 217. The door waits silently, unremarkably, yet somehow knowing. You reach for the handle and feel an icy pulse under your palm, like the heartbeat of something unseen. You step inside, the air shifts immediately, thicker, colder, suffused with tension that presses against your chest. The room is small, elegant, yet every corner hums with expectation, as though the furniture itself is watching. You catch a movement in a mirror, the shadow that blinks when you do, then vanishes. A faint whisper brushes your ear. A name? A warning? You cannot tell. Suddenly the bed dips as though someone has settled there. No one is present. A chair scrapes softly on the floor, lights flickering above you. The room seems to breathe in time with your fear, stretching seconds into minutes that feel like hours. Somewhere distant but immediate, the faint echo of laughter. A child's voice sends a shiver down your spine. Room 217 is the crown jewel of the Stanley's hauntings. Guests and staff alike have reported countless encounters here. One visitor recounted,
I opened the door to room 217, and the first thing I noticed was the bed had shifted slightly. Then the chair moved. I wasn't alone, though the room was empty. I felt eyes on me the entire time, and a whisper that seemed to say, stay.
Stephen King himself stayed in this very room in 1974. He later confessed that the oppressive silence, the isolation, and the peculiar energy of the space inspired The Shining. But many claim that room 217 holds horrors far beyond the novel. Another guest shared,
I woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps circling the room. My husband was asleep beside me. I called out and the steps stopped, but when I turned on the light, everything was untouched. It was as if someone had walked just beside me, unseen.
The room has a history of cold spots, lights turning on and off without explanation, and objects moving on their own. These occurrences are remarkably consistent over decades, suggesting something persistent, intelligent, and watchful resides here. Even seasonal staff have admitted to seeing and sensing a presence. Doors open before anyone touches them, and the weight of someone or something sitting on the bed is described repeatedly. Yet the room isn't malicious in the traditional sense. It is observant, patient, and insistent on being remembered. If the ballroom teased your imagination and the tunnels made your skin crawl, room 217 will leave an impression you cannot forget. Its whispers are not just echoes, they're invitations. And as you prepare to leave, the Stanley waits, patient and knowing, ready to see who dares to stay just a little longer. As you step back into the Stanley Hotel's grand hallway one last time, the chandeliers glint like watchful eyes and the air seems heavier somehow, as though carrying the weight of a century of whispers. Room 217 waits, unassuming yet insistent, its door quietly humming with the memory of every guest who ever dared to enter. A faint piano note drifts from the ballroom, curling through the corridors like a scent you cannot place, teasing your senses. The tunnels beneath the hotel seem to exhale shadows stretching just beyond the sight. Footsteps echo somewhere, not yours, and you realize the hotel remembers. Every creak, every flicker of light, every whisper in the dark. The Stanley is alive in ways that linger long after you leave. You feel the pull to stay just a little longer, to listen, to see, to acknowledge what cannot fully be seen. The Stanley doesn't merely house memories, it collects them, feeds on them, and ensures that those who pass through its doors are forever changed. If the shadows, the whispers, and the faint melodies of the Stanley have left you chilled, intrigued, or ravenously curious, it's time to join the Insomnia Cult. Hit like and subscribe and step further.
So, chat, question. Would you stay in room 217? There's also a room there that's quite interesting that is still on the ghost tour, I believe. Your key doesn't work. You can put it in, you can keep trying, you can try to open the door. Doesn't work. Okay. Unless you ask permission to enter. When you ask permission to enter, you say, you knock, hey, can I come in? You put your key in, and you turn your key, and the door will open without any issue. But you have to ask permission to enter. This in particular room was home to a gentleman that now haunts that room. They call him Mr. Allen, and you have to ask his permission to enter the room before you go in. Mr. Allen has been there probably years and years and years now, but it's quite interesting. And when we're on this tour, we got to go to this room, and the person that was leading the tour said, "Hey, yeah, tried it." It was like, "Hey, wouldn't go in, put the key in, put the master key, nothing." Until we knocked on the door and asked permission to come in, and we were able to go in. It's kind of cool. So, would you stay in 217?
I would go beat on the door and be like, help, I'm being attacked. See if they let me in.
Right?
I would.
So
I'd stay in room 217.
I think I would too. I think I would. I'd have to be with someone, but I would stay in 217. Now here's another question. Do you think the hotel's reputation helps create these paranormal experiences? That's the question. Like, do you think
I don't know, because
these
it's been going on
stories
for a
kind of
long
feed it?
time. And I've actually seen like, and again, they could be staged, but I've seen videos, like live videos of the tours and the room and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, can you like confuse yourself based on the story of the hotel? Yes. Especially if you've seen the movie The Shining, or read the book, because you get those imaginations in your head, and then you want to see them so bad that you don't know if you've seen them or if it was an actual thing. But based off of what I've learned about the Stanley, not off the movie, not off of anything else, off of people actually going there and doing investigations and stuff like that, I I think it just depends on the person.
Yep. Now, if you want to go spend the night at the Stanley, you're more than welcome. Go to stanleyhotel.com. And just an average price, I see anywhere from $293 to $465 a night. So,
Yeah,
just to give you a heads up.
because of its popularity.
If you want
Very
to, they
expensive.
also do paranormal investigations. Where did that go?
You know who Selena Spooky Boo is?
Think so, yeah.
She did one there. Her and I can't even think of her name, the blonde. I can't think of her name right now.
If you
but they
want,
did
they
one.
do also do 3-hour investigations. Those are $125. A little pricey, but definitely worth it.
Mhm.
One of those places that is on a bucket list for many people to go visit. So
On mine.
one day.
Yep.
So Stallion said he would stay in 217. Why do you think haunted hotels are so popular to people?
Because you can actually stay there and like record through the night to catch something.
Yeah.
That's that's why I really believe that hotels are that way. Like you could go to an abandoned asylum or an abandoned hospital or whatever, but don't normally stay there. Like you can't rent a room and be like, "Oh, I'm going to try and get something." But I think the hotel is the excitement of it. Like
Yeah.
being able to stay there for more than a couple hours to see if you can, without worrying about whether or not you're going to get in trouble for trespassing or that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, it can be a thrill to be like, oh, I'm going to try and not get in trouble for trespassing on this place and everything. But I think having it be a legit place to go where you can get a room, you can walk around, you can investigate, you can look at all the stuff that they talk about. 'Cause I'm sure they have descriptions of everything in the area that happened there or whatever. And you can take your time, like, and it's a more controlled environment because there's more people around, not just you and a couple other people in an abandoned place.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So I think that's why they're more popular because gotta admit there's a bunch of pussies out there.
They are. They are.
But earlier, Stallion had asked, have you ever went to the real Hell House?
The real Hell House?
I don't even think I've heard of the real Hell House.
Where is it at, Stallion?
But the video was playing, so I didn't want to
Oh, you're good.
interrupt.
I want to show you guys something. a little break of that. Let me pull this up real quick.
While you're pulling
Boom.
that up, I'm gonna grab a drink really quick.
Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it. Oh, it's in Pennsylvania. I have not. I have not.
Ooh,
So
I'm not that far away.
no, you're not. So I was telling you guys about me and my friends. We created this paranormal investigation society and stuff like that. And I wanted to show you guys. So this was a photo that was taken. I actually took this photo. This photo is taken at Fort Adams in Newport, Rhode Island. It's an old Civil War fort, old Revolutionary War, and I believe they used it during the Civil War too. So these two that are sitting on the bench there were two great friends of mine. And I was like, "Oh, go sit over there. I'm gonna snap a picture." Right? Took the picture. And the after the fact, we saw this orb, which was kind of cool. Let's see if I can find
I always like seeing orbs.
right. Oh, it will let me shoot. Oh, wrong picture. So yeah. So you remember when I was telling you we started out in graveyards. This photo was taken. We have a rule, of course, to respect the graveyards and respect the people that are buried there, of course, that we do not smoke, vape,
Mm.
or do anything like that while we were on property. So we took this photo, and then they turned around. They're talking, and they turned back and took another photo, and that's what they found.
That's crazy.
Kind of cool, I
It
gotta
is.
say. Again, we don't smoke or vape or anything like that. It's kind of an interesting thing. So, uh, I should have gone one more. It's okay. Talking. So in our next segment, we're gonna be talking about the Bell Witch. The Bell Witch is a legend in Tennessee in 1817 and is considered one of America's most famous hauntings. Witnesses claim a spirit Bell family and was been responsible for the death of John Bell. Couple of questions while we look at this one. Can a spirit physically harm someone? Why has this story survived over 200 years? Was it a spiritual or mass hysteria? And our friend, well, good friend of mine still, Kendall Ray, is going to kind of bring us through this on her YouTube channel. If you go over and watch her, if you like the paranormal spooky shit, she's a good person.
Today I'm going to be telling you about another story that probably falls in the category of legend because there's so much unconfirmed information and it's been passed down by generations because it's a super old story and most of the people at this time couldn't even read or write. So, you know, it's one of those things where word of mouth kind of spreads a lot of
Also, I haven't mentioned yet, if you're not in the fucking Discord, click the goddamn link and join the damn Discord. It's free.
information, so
I had to
there's
put
a
it
lot
out
of
there, you know.
unconfirmed details of this story and it's definitely a legend. Some people don't believe that the story is true at all, so it's definitely up to you at the end of the day what you think. Today I will be telling you about the haunting of the Bell family farm, otherwise known as the story of the Bell Witch. There's a bunch of different versions of this story online, so I did my best to try to find the most generally accepted version and put together a story that made sense as best as I could. But again, most of this is hearsay and could be made up, so keep that in mind. So the story actually takes place in Red River, Tennessee, which is actually now known as Adams, Tennessee. It's a pretty small town right on the outskirts of Nashville. So the story actually starts in 1804, so a long ass time ago. There was a man named John Bell, and he was married to a woman named Lucy. And in 1804, the Bell family and 10 other families made the big decision to move from North Carolina to Tennessee. And this was a major decision because moving was no easy task back then. You know, they're pioneers. They're pretty much walking there. You know, they probably had a horse-covered wagon. It's dangerous. It takes a long time. But they made the move with 10 other families, like I said. And when they finally got to Tennessee, after quite the trek, they moved right into a new house, which was a beautiful big house for the time, and started farming. John Bell purchased a lot of land for his family to farm on. And as the years went by, while he was there, he bought even more land, and he was just killing the game. Eventually, he owned 328 acres and cleared a bunch of that land for farming. So he was doing really well. They were also really well respected in the community. He was well known, and life was going pretty well for the Bell family. So they started to have children and really settle down and make their home in Tennessee. So one of the families that moved from North Carolina to Tennessee with the Bell family was called the Batts family. And the man of the house, Frederick Batts, actually was injured in a farming accident, and he ended up becoming disabled. This was absolutely terrible for their family because they relied on him for income, and he wasn't able to work because he was disabled, so they're, you know, kind of SOL. So they ended up having to sell parts of their property in order to make ends meet. And one of the people to buy land from Frederick was John Bell. And he got a really good deal on the land because, you know, they're desperate for money. They, you know, will pretty much sell their land for whatever someone is willing to pay for it. And Frederick had a wife named Kate, and Kate found out about the whole transaction and was really upset about it. She felt like John Bell was taking advantage of their family being poor and in this horrible situation because of her husband's injury. She said that the land that they sold him was actually worth a lot more than what they sold it for him. Basically, he got a sick deal on it and did really take advantage of their situation. This really upset the Batts family, actually, especially Kate, and apparently she swore that she would make the Bell family pay for this in some way. So in addition to buying that land from Frederick, John Bell decided that he was also going to purchase a slave. Yes, a human being. This was a thing back then, obviously. And he was going to buy this slave from Frederick's brother, Benjamin. However, the slave was actually a really young girl, and John decided that it would be best if she stayed with her mother for as long as possible. So he found it in the kindness of his heart to let the poor girl stay with her mom until she was a little older, when he would come pick her up, and then she would become his slave. And when the time came for her to be old enough to work for him, John came and picked her up. But when he picked her up, Benjamin said that she was worth a lot more now that she was older and working age and stuff. So he wanted John to pay more, but he had already paid for her, so he was like, no, done deal, I'm taking her anyway. So he took her, and this is when the Bells and the Batts ended up having major beef. The Batts felt like John was just a terrible human and would just rip off anybody. They felt like they were being taken advantage of by him. So since John ended up taking the slave with him anyway, Benjamin Batts decided to file a lawsuit against him for extortion. However, back then the communication wasn't too great, and John ended up not even knowing that he was supposed to be in court, so he never showed up for any of the hearings. But eventually word was getting around the town because the Batts were just talking so badly about the Bell family. And so a lot of people in the town stopped respecting them, stopped liking them, and kind of had a thing against them. But on the other hand, they also didn't like Kate, who was the one spreading most of the information about John Bell. Apparently, a lot of the locals really hated Kate because she was a very strong and tough woman, and that was not well received. Once her husband became disabled, she became, you know, the head of the house, and a lot of men, I think, were threatened by that. People in the town said that she was acting extremely entitled and obnoxious. She was described as loud, boisterous, and pretty much super controlling, and so a lot of people in the town really did not like Kate. Kate also wanted to be really involved in the business side of things, especially when it came to her own finances, but this was so unheard of at the time that that really weirded people out as well, that she was even involved. So a lot of people thought that Kate was practicing witchcraft. Now, I will say, in our history, tons of people are accused of practicing witchcraft that did not actually practice witchcraft. And I say this because this story is mostly hearsay, and we have no idea if Kate was actually practicing witchcraft. A lot of times rumors were spread about women who were feminists or, you know, spiritual in a way other than Christian, who were like anti-Puritan society, are labeled as witches. Especially a woman who is coming off as really strong and trying to take a man's role. I could easily see them trying to peg someone like that as a witch. But a lot of people think that Kate really was a witch. So again, this is gonna be up to you. A lot of people actually think her husband was disabled because of her. That, they were being punished by God because she was dabbling in witchcraft, so it's her fault. So the story of the hauntings at the Bell family house are really where the meat of the story is. So in 1817, the haunting of the Bell family house really begins. It all starts with John. He was actually hunting on all of his land that he had when he came across a creature. He described it as a large dog with the head of a rabbit. So really creepy looking. He said that it was covered in black fur and was like snarling at him. And so his natural instinct as a hunter was to shoot the thing. So he fired his gun and he runs over to it to see what he had killed. But as he got closer, he realized that it had disappeared. And after this encounter, John said crazy things started happening in their house. The Bell family talked about a lot of sounds happening around their house. The whole family claimed that during the night you could hear stones being thrown against the house, or at least what sounded like stones. And every time they heard the sound, they would go outside to see if anyone threw a rock at the house or find out what the sound was, and there would be nothing there. They would hear some other things like window creaking and scary noises that sounded like animals howling, but they weren't too freaked out until it started happening inside the house. They claimed that they started hearing what sounded like scratching at the walls, at the doors, on the windows, and they said that the sound was coming from inside the house. And anytime they looked for like a source for any of these noises and would try to figure out what they were not able to find anything that could have been responsible for the sound. So the family just tried to ignore it, out of sight, out of mind, just let's pretend this isn't happening to us, until they actually started to have physical attacks happen. One night, their 14-year-old daughter, Betsy, woke up in her room to sounds of scratching on the walls. And when she woke up, she realized her hair was tied around the bed frame. She was like stuck to it. Can you imagine how scared you'd be if you woke up and your hair was tied up around the bed? This is when she claimed she couldn't move because she was tied up, and something.
So what I want to also point out, back in this day, you also have what's going on in Salem, Salem witch trials, people being burnt at the stake.
Mhm.
Are they a witch? Do they float? Things like that. So you got to kind of keep those in mind.
Started slapping her across the face. She couldn't describe it as anything other than a force. Every time she would try to pull the covers up over her face to shield her face from the slapping, the covers would be ripped back down. So when John and Lucy heard their daughter screaming, they ran to her room, and when they opened the door, they actually saw her looking completely panicked with red welts and marks all over her face. She said she felt like she was being strangled, like she couldn't breathe. And it didn't take long before this started happening to the other kids in the house, her two younger brothers. They started just waking up with these huge welts all over their face. They also said that they would wake up to the sounds of rats chewing on their bedposts, and they would get so freaked out that they'd run to their parents' room. In addition to all of this happening to the kids, John also started having some physical symptoms happen to him. He started having paralysis on part of his face, so it was like drooping down, and his tongue also swelled up really, really big, and he wasn't even able to eat. So the Bell family was super freaked out. They felt like they were being haunted, but back then that was a very taboo thing, You have to deal with people wanting to come in and do an exorcism on your house, and people talking in the town about why you got haunted, and it just brings a bad reputation to the family, and their reputation already was kind of shitty because of their drama with the Bats family. So instead, they decided they would just pray really hard to God and ask him to protect them from this haunting. However, this was not the case. After they started praying, the activity started to get worse in the Bell house. Some of the slaves that worked in the Bell house said that they would see random animals around the house, even birds. Some of them even claimed that these animals could talk, and quite a few of them mentioned a talking donkey. I think we know who that donkey is. Shortly after things started getting worse, Betsy was really freaked out, and she went out for a walk one day. She was walking through a field when all of a sudden she saw a girl in a green dress hanging from her hands from a tree, just swaying in the breeze. Betsy claims that she only saw the girl for a split second before the whole image just disappeared. So the activity kept ramping up. They kept seeing things. All of the Bell family members were starting to experience the paranormal activity, and it was bad. So even though they were trying to keep this, quiet, eventually the activity was so bad that none of them were sleeping, and they were absolutely desperate. So John decided to reach out to his friend, James Johnson. He asked James to help, and James agreed to try to help them. James was pretty religious, and so he and his wife ended up coming to the house, and their plan was basically to just pray and hope that the evil spirit would leave the house. Now, apparently, one time when James was over praying, James asked the spirit to know what the name of it was. Like, what is it that is possessing this house? And that's when he claims he heard someone say, Kate. Now, again, he definitely could have made this up. They had some beef with the family. I feel like there's some room for small town shenanigans going on here, but they thought, it's gotta be Kate Batts that's haunting us. So things were still just going terribly for the Bell family. As they continued to pray, the haunting just was getting worse. So John decided, I have to just get help from the community. We've got to tell people what's going on. And so that's what he did. Once they started telling a few people, the word got out quick about the haunting at their house. And it wasn't long until random people started coming to their house to see if they could experience some of the paranormal activity themselves. And this is really, really interesting. But eventually the story became so big that Andrew Jackson, who was an Army general back then, but would be future president, eventually he heard about it and he decided he had to come see the haunting for himself. Andrew Jackson actually decided to take a group of his men to the Bell family house and stay in the house so that they could experience the paranormal activity for themselves. However, when they pulled up to the house in their wagon, all of a sudden the wheels of the wagon completely stopped working and there was nothing visible and no rhyme or reason for them to have stopped working. Apparently, Andrew Jackson at this time said, "By the eternal, boys, it's the witch." And then they claimed that a voice was heard saying, "All right, General, let the wagon move on. I will see you again tonight." And then they claim that the wagon started moving again. But I'm very skeptical about this part of the story. I don't know. Andrew Jackson was not a great guy. I feel like maybe he could have been making some stuff up. So apparently once they got there, they had planned to stay for
A
several
politician?
nights, but
No.
it was so haunted that they only stayed for one night. They basically said there was so much activity in the house that they couldn't take it, and they decided they had to leave. Apparently, Andrew Jackson actually said, "I would rather face the entire British Army than face the Bell house at night again." So John's health was definitely deteriorating, and so was Lucy's. She ended up getting really sick with a terrible lung infection. But while she was in bed, she claimed that Kate actually came to her bedside and took care of her. The witch of the town, Lucy claimed that she would leave grapes and hazelnuts by her bed, but no one ever let her in or anything. So it's always been kind of undetermined if she was like a spirit there haunting her, but taking care of her in a way. I don't know. But Lucy did end up
Angel
getting better,
Munez,
and
the
she
CEO
said
of
it was
Beam, in the
partly due
chat,
to
my
Kate.
friends. Thank you so much for
But John,
popping in, my
he got
friend.
worse.
I appreciate you, and I
Really
appreciate
sick,
your
actually. And on the morning of
your
December 20th,
platform here.
1820,
Always
John
having
Bell
a
was found
ton of
dead
fun
in his
over here.
bed. And one of John's sons claims that he went into his room after he was found dead, and he actually found a little cloudy bottle of like an empty vial of what he thought was poison. And he said there was a nasty smell coming from his dad's mouth. So he thinks that his dad...
I had to pause it real quick. I just want to big shout out, if you didn't hear me earlier, Angel Munez. Hopefully I'm not butchering your name. He's the CEO of Beam. He's actually in our chat over on Beam. If you guys haven't checked out Beam, please go check them out over there. They're a great platform to stream on. You automatically get monetized, and you automatically get sponsors and all that kind of fun stuff over there. So if you haven't checked them out yet, and there's some great shows over there. No, just saying. Number 3. All right, back to the video, guys.
was poisoned. Now again, this is majorly hearsay, but according to the Bell family, they asked Kate about this. And apparently Kate informed them that she fixed his medicine last night by giving him a big dose and that he would never get out of the bed again. So one thing that's really interesting about all this is John's death actually was documented with a supernatural force as the cause of death. This was the first time in US history where a spirit was like formally blamed for someone's death. A lot of people thought that they were being haunted by a witch, whether that was Kate or not, and it started to be referred to as the Bell Witch. Now, apparently at John's funeral, Kate was around, hanging out, mocking his death. Some people said that Kate was seen laughing around the funeral and making inappropriate jokes. And after he died, all the activity in the Bell house just stopped. A lot of people believe that Kate was the one haunting them, and she was happy with the outcome of John being dead, so there was no reason to continue haunting the family. However, this really wasn't the case, because in 1821, Betsy Bell ended up getting engaged to a young man named Joshua Gardner. And shortly after she was engaged, she claims that she was walking in that same field again when she saw the girl hanging from the tree again. And apparently this time the girl warned Betsy not to marry this man. And she was so freaked out by it that she ended up calling off the engagement, and the guy moved. And what's really interesting is there's rumors out there that this whole story could have been completely made up, and made up by Betsy's new husband, someone she ended up marrying after this other guy, and his name was Richard Powell. Richard Powell was a guy who was super highly educated, and so a lot of people think he kind of made up the story. A lot of people believe that since it was coming from him, that others thought it was credible, and that's how the story spread around, because he was such an intelligent person. Betsy and Richard ended up getting married, and they had 8 kids together, but a lot of her kids, most of her kids, died pretty young, which was, fairly common for the time. And she ended up passing in 1888. So there's a lot of questions about Kate being the one to have haunted the house. There's some people who think that Kate was dead during this time and was haunting as a spirit. But then there's a lot of people that believe that she was alive and haunting from afar. In the 1830 census, it says that she was still alive. But people who live in this area now claim that there's still strange activity going on in this area to this day. In fact, there are still Bell family members that live in the same town. And one of the current Bells living there is named Bob Bell, and he has experienced a little bit of haunting himself. He said that when he was a young boy, his grandmother called up his dad and told him that there were intruders at her house. So he remembers their family going over there and finding this cabinet in the kitchen that always stayed locked and was filled with their best china. And everything in this cabinet had been thrown out onto the ground. But the weird thing is, nothing smashed. And the family thinks that is just really bizarre. In 1843, the house was actually torn down. The land is now just being used as farmland for various crops and stuff, so there's no haunting actually happening there. And now people say that the Bell family farm itself is not actually haunted, but there's this cave nearby, and a lot of people think that the Bell Witch, which is pretty much the name of the spirit, haunts the cave. People say that it's legit haunted, and people claim that if you ever decide to visit it, which people do a lot, you should never bring anything there or take anything from there. The cave is kind of actually a tourist attraction now. You can actually buy tickets to go in it. But apparently at one point there was a guy that took a rock from the cave. And apparently within 3 days of taking this rock, 3 terrible things happened to him. He lost his home, he lost his job, and his wife died. And this story is actually more popular than you would think. Some of your favorite movies and TV shows have been actually based off of the Bell Witch very loosely. The Blair Witch Project, An American Haunting, Bell Witch the movie, The Bell Witch Legend, and The Bell Witch Haunting. I think it's a super interesting story, and I would love to know what you guys think of this. Even though it's a legend and a lot of it may not be true, I did find this story very fascinating. I would love to know what you guys think.
All right. So, what do you guys think? What do you think? Do you think like people are like this thing is true? Do you think it was Kate? Histories of Kate's, haunting people. Uh what do you think? What do you think, Reaper? Do you
Well,
think
if
was
what she
Kate
said was
alive or
true,
dead?
if what she said was true and the census said that she was still alive during that period, there is a possibility that she was a witch and could have sent spirits to that house to do that.
Mhm.
But it seems to me she didn't want anything to happen to the wife, but more the husband.
Yeah.
So you want to delve a little deeper. Could have been a little jealousy issue
Could have been.
because that girl that was hanging from the tree told her not to marry the other guy, get remarried. So,
Who knows?
I mean, there's so many ways you can go with this story. So many directions that you can go with this story. I don't know, because it's kind of weird because I've been to that city and I never knew anything about it before now.
Now
It would have
you
been
know.
awesome if I would have known then. I would have like looked into it a little bit more, but I
Right.
lived in Clarksville for a long time and I went to Adams and Nashville quite a few times in that little time that I spent.
Yeah.
And so I
So,
don't know.
I asked the chat before we started this a few questions. Can a spirit physically harm you? I would say yes, 100%. The average spirit, the ones that are around here all the time, things like that, I don't think so. However, there are entities that can. There's literally
Those are the
been,
ones.
yeah,
Those
those are
are
the
the
ones you
ones
watch
that
out for.
drain the those are the ones that drain the power from your batteries because they want to use that so they can pick things up and throw them at you or pick you up and throw you or scratch you or slap you or anything like that. They need that extra energy to be able to do that.
Do I believe that every single one that, okay, physically harm, if something gets thrown at you or touches you, do I think every single one of those entities are evil and demonic and all these other words that people, no. There are a lot of entities that use those, use that to gain attention, mess with you,
Play with you.
play with you. Yep, you know, like Reaper was saying that like she would like basically, you know, she has OCD, so everything is kind of like in its place, right? And then you come back and something's missing, something's not. It happens.
It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts when they do that. It really does.
It does.
Especially when I can't find something that I actually like. I know I have it. And I can't find it anywhere. Like things have disappeared completely out of my house.
Yeah, and I've done
And I'm
the
like,
same thing.
I know I had that.
So I have a rosary that was given to me when I was a kid. And it's from St. John Paul II. All right. And what's funny about it is I haven't been able to find it. Don't know where it is. Wonder what happened to it. And every once in a while, it just fucking pops up back in my drawer somewhere. Like, I'm like, really? Like, really? But, why do you think this story in particular has survived over 200 years? Right? So this started in 1817. It's currently 2026. We're gone over the hump. Why do you think this story in particular of the Bell Witch, of the Bell family, has stayed around so long?
The unknown.
I would agree.
Not being a clear 100% factual story.
Correct. And you know what I mean? There are. So I live probably less than probably a mile or so from Ridgegate Road or Ridgeway, one of the two. I can't remember the name of the neighborhood. It's supposed to be the most haunted road. It's every road, I would say every state, town may have something along the way things of these type of things that happen. The redheaded hitchhiker. that's on Route 6 in Massachusetts, right? The Corvette that comes up driving behind you that you can see lights and it'll tailgate you and then disappear, right?
Mhm.
I believe that these stories, these things, right? You can find them in almost every state, right? There are certain things like this, the Bell Witch. Those are things that are go unexplained for hundreds of years. They get passed down story to story to story, change. Like the whole thing with what was it? Andrew Jackson, right? Was the
Mhm.
president there? The wheels on the wagon stopped or stuff like that. Or I'll see you tonight.
Right.
Those things get added to the myths over and over again, where some of these stories become so embellished that you look at them and you go, is that true? But once you start to investigate them and kind of get to the root of the story, then I can say absolutely yes, this story is true. This story is
Right. There,
verifiable.
because there's always bits and pieces to a story that are true.
Yeah, that's the reason why it's a story.
Proven fact. Exactly.
Yeah.
But like you said, like playing telephone.
Yeah.
You tell somebody a story and then they exaggerate it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next person exaggerates it even more. And that being said, Stallion said, I think a spirit can harm you both physically and mentally. But I also think that there are
Ways they can't.
As long as you have God on your side, you can't be touched. I'm gonna agree with you partially there. It's not really, I mean, yeah, God sends the angels down to protect you. But if you don't have that guardian angel, that's where you start getting harmed.
So before
Like,
every investigation I've ever done, whether I am taking a ride on Riverdale Road or I'm going to go to this person's house because they're having issues with an entity, I had a case a few years ago where myself and a friend who's also a medium got called. One of her friends, friend of a friend, basically asked us to go there because they kept having this haunting. They weren't too sure what was going on and so on and so forth. Well, come to find out, their little child, had I'd say spiritual powers, right? And they would this child would open portals, but didn't know how to close them.
oh Lord.
So we were able to go and it kind of explained because hey, mommy and daddy, there's a man in my room. I opened this thing and he walked through. You know what I mean? To them, that's just a wild idea, right? To a normal person, that's a wild idea. But to people like us and people like that are investigate this in particular paranormal, right? We understand that. We kind of can get down to the level of that person to say, hey, by the way, we understand, we believe you. This is not something that is not, not happening, right? This is not your imaginary friend, right?
Right.
Which is a
Our
whole nother
imaginary
tangent.
dog.
Yeah, a whole nother tangent I can go on with imaginary friends, by the way. Just to give you an
Yeah. Me too.
because they're real and they disappear, and there's a reason why. Another show, another time.
Yes.
But so we were able to go. We were able to close a lot of these portals. We were able to talk to the kid and kind of said, hey, can't be
Gotta be more
opening these
careful.
things. You got to be a little bit more careful. We performed a house blessing. I also put around the house 2 different metals. One was the Saint Benedict medal, and the other one was the miraculous medal. And we performed a house blessing for them. We're able to clear the house of these portals, and ever since now, no issues. The worst part of this is they lived right underneath electrical lines that carried like a good portion of power to the town. So when that happened, all that energy that was being uh, created, released from those energy lines was just
was traveling
fostering
down
this.
the.
It was insane.
I'm surprised you got them closed.
Yeah, we got them
When
closed.
the portal opens and you're around power lines like that.
It took
Okay,
some time, but
I have a question for you.
yeah.
Having what I call sixth sense, do you remember anything you experienced as a very young child?
I do. I remember a dream, and I remember this dream like it is. I'm not too sure if it was dream. I'm not too sure if it was reality. Like it was like one of those things. And I remember it. I was a little kid. I was younger than 7 because it was when we lived back east. We lived in a different part of town before we moved to another town, but where I was born, different part of town. And I remember waking up, getting out of bed, and no one was there. Right? I walked out of my room. People weren't at the kitchen table. I walked downstairs to my auntie's house, which wasn't really my aunt's house. And no one was there. But when I went back up upstairs, all I could see around me were these shadow people. Right? These shadows that were there, which like freaked me out, of course. And then I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go back to bed." I went back into my room, and as I went back into my room, this is weird. I went back into my room and I opened the door, and it was a closed down Chuck E. Cheese. You remember at Chuck E. Cheese? Do you remember the ride? It wasn't Dumbo, but it was an elephant.
Mhm.
And that was the only thing that was working. Like all the games were silent, the lights were on, no one was there. And I got up on the Dumbo thing, and it just started moving, and of course I think I started crying or something like that. But there is a picture somewhere, I can't remember. There is a picture of me sitting on this stupid ride, and there's no one in the background. I must have been taking at close or something like that. So I'm not too sure if it was a dream or reality, you know what I mean? Kind of like thing.
Mhm.
But there was also shadow people there. I don't remember my mom being there. I don't remember my dad being there, or my sister, or anyone else but me. But that is the earliest memory that is so, like, I could pull
So
it up in my
vivid.
head. You know what I mean? And I was young. I
Okay.
was younger than 7.
Stallion is talking about deja vu. Trust me, deja vu moments with me
Oh, I hate fucking
are,
deja vu.
but it's not usually that day when I wake up from the dream that it happens. It happens over time. So, like, I'll be like, wait a second, I've had that conversation with somebody before, or I've heard those words before by the same person, but it wasn't like the conversation we were having, like me and you are having right now. But we'll touch on that later, because the very first memory that I can remember is 2 days before my grandpa died.
Mhm.
I was 2 years old. 2 years old. And I remember us walking up the stairs, and he would always eat a peanut butter and banana sandwich before he went to bed. And he would cut me a half of one, and I would go up with him and we would eat it. We would watch a show, and then I would fall asleep. And then he'd put me to bed. Okay. I remember these vivid details. One time we were walking up the stairs, and my grandma lived in what you would consider a 4-story house. She had an attic that you could go up into. She had an upstairs, downstairs, and a basement. Okay. Very old Victorian style house. And I walked up with my grandpa that night, and I told him, I said, Grandpa, I want to go to my room tonight. So I went in my room, and this little girl was sitting on my bed, and she was talking to me. I could see her clear as day. My grandpa heard me talking and comes in there, and he goes, "Who are you talking to?" I go, "You don't see Amanda?" The girl had the same name as my sister, okay, which was really freaky. But the little girl goes, "You need to go with him." And I was like, okay. That happened the night before he died. So I went with him. We went and did our thing, and we got our peanut butter banana sandwich, and we went upstairs and we were watching the show. And then all of a sudden, my grandpa said, "I love you, Munchkin," because he always called me Munchkin. He goes, "I'll see you in the next life." He laid down, closed his eyes, and that was it. He stopped breathing.
Wow.
So that little girl was telling me that I needed to go with my grandpa so he could tell me goodbye. But she was a ghost.
Yeah, it's
And then I saw the little girl come in the room, and then I saw a light come out of my grandpa, go into the little girl, and then she disappeared.
Hmm.
So basically, I was meant to be a reaper since I was 2 years old. Because that's what I believe a reaper is. They come collect the souls and take them to where they're supposed to be. That's what I truly believe a reaper is. And so that was the very, very first encounter that I can remember. And I was contemplating on whether to talk about it or not, because I got this really heavy feeling right after you started playing the first video.
yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, maybe that's somebody telling me I should talk about it. And that heavy feeling
So
finally
what's
lifted.
interesting about this is that we used to have um when I was a little, so this was 8, maybe 9, 10 years old, right? We lived on a main road in these like tall, they're not apartment buildings, but they're houses, and they had 3 floors. And then in the back, there was 3 floors, and then there was like this dirt patch, and then along the dirt patch is where the trash was. But on the other side, on the first floor, is where our landlord lived. His name was Pete, and Dolores was his husband, was his wife, and they were old. I believe both have passed on since. Well, I know Dolores has, and I'm pretty sure Pete has now. But Dolores used to always lay on the swing on that was like behind them because they had like their little driveway where he'd park his Cadillac. He was so proud of that gold Cadillac. I could like picture it like to this day. And behind that there was like a little table, chair, and like remember when those like swings you're able like that had a bench that was metal. This was white. Like I can literally see it, describing it to you, and padding. And she used to lay out there all the time, and I'd come over and we'd sit and we'd chit chat, and she'd tell me about the olden days. She was old enough to live during the Depression. She was telling me one time that she had to go to the food bank with their families to get their rations and stuff like that, right? Well, one night I was sleeping with my sister that night, which was weird. Like that never really happened. And I was in her room, and it was like it had to have been like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. around that time. And I like woke up. And I woke up and Dolores is standing there. And she just like waves, disappears. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I left because I was like sleeping in my sister's room. I'm gonna go to my room now. This is too fucked up. So I went to to go to my room, and I noticed while I was there that my mom and my dad was still awake, and they were sitting at the kitchen table. So I was like, maybe I'll get some water or something like that. So I walked out there, and Pete was sitting there with them, and Pete's crying, and I looked at my mom and my dad and Pete, and I said, Grandma Dolores died, didn't she? And they both go, yeah, why are you awake? I said, well, she just waved goodbye to me and left. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, and what's funny is she was a cranky old woman. Cranky old woman. But she had a heart of gold. You know what I mean? She hated every
Usually
other
the
kid.
crankier they are.
Yeah. She hated every other person in the complex except for us, which is I don't know why. But she passed along, and then Pete, I think Pat has passed since then. Too short. It was one of those like, holy cow! It was actually the day that she died was the same day that Tupac died. And I remember that too because the day before, I used to have this like plastic cross, and I was really into drawing, and I was really good at it. I should probably get back into it, but I traced around this plastic cross, and I drew a picture for my sister with Tupac's face in it in the cross. And I gave it to her to put up on her wall, and literally that happened the night before. That did this the day after he passed, which is it's fucking crazy. Holy moly, that was a fast 2 hours. I'll tell you that. We didn't even get past what we wanted to go through, but that's fine. But
Continuation.
yeah, we can always do Mothman another night. Since we have a couple of, it's funny, these kids will say, oh, I have imaginary friends, I have this, I have that. Listen, parents, listen to them. They're not imaginary friends, right? They're children see something more than what we see.
Because they're innocent.
Yeah. Not that we're any innocent than it is, but
Yes.
just pay attention to them, right? As long as this imaginary friend is not causing any harm and not scaring them, let it be. Foster that.
My little sister had an imaginary dog.
Yeah. Heard of dogs and
And
cats and
it was crazy because she never knew Brownie, our dog.
mm-hmm.
And when I asked her to describe this dog to me, she described our Brownie in detail, like down to the spots.
Wow.
And so I went up to my dad and I go, watch that leash. She put her imaginary dog on the leash and hooked it to our clothesline. And when she was outside, she'd go over there, hook the dog up, and run back and forth with him. She wasn't holding on to the leash, but the leash was moving. And my dad goes, "Are you kidding me?" I go, "No." I go, "Grandma was right." My dad's mom was also a medium. And the gene, I call it the gene, but it's not a gene. It's the
Yeah. The
connection
gift.
was passed down to me and my little sister. My little sister never like opened herself up to it when she got older. But she had it when she was really young. Like she was 3 years old when this was going on.
Wow.
So that was when my dad became a believer.
Hey.
He's like, "This is what you deal with all the time?" I said, "Yep." Yep.
That's insane. Holy
It
moly,
was
guys. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was agreeing. It was very insane.
Yeah, here it is, guys. Like you might have experiences in your life that are with ghosts, are with entities, are with things that you cannot see, or you might, it's funny is where I sit, kitchen is, there's like 2 steps up, and then there's a door in the kitchen. And every once in a while, like I'll look up and you can like see something poking around the corner or something like that, right? Um, they're harmless. They're just entertained. They're trying to see what you're doing. You have to
I just want to be
remember
a part of your life.
a lot of places where people live, especially on the East Coast, and also where I am in Colorado, there are old homes. They have had many people and many families live in them and have their entire lives. Or you might go to a whatchamacallit, a yard sale and pick up an old piece of furniture. You know, the ones that are really well built. Something might just be attached to that.
Even a photo,
Yeah,
like
a photo
a
or
picture.
anything.
It could be a little knickknack. It could be anything. It could be a handkerchief.
Yeah.
Anything that you pick up from antique shops, from garage sales, yard sales, Goodwill, any of those places could have a spirit attached to them.
Yeah. So, guys, like we have to learn to live with them, right? Uh, I would probably say 99% are harmless. They're just spirits living their day-to-day life. Why they're here, we don't know. Some of us might, some of us might not. But we here's the thing. Live your life. Live your life to the fullest, and be just present in what you do each day, because you never know who's watching. And there's a lot of people that I've talked to that are like, oh, I have the spirit that follows me around. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Like, they just enjoy watching you live your life. So go have some adventures. Um, Make sure that you guys, if you ever decide you want to go ghost hunting, go to a place to go ghost hunting. Make sure you get permission first, because it really stinks when the police show up, or
Yeah.
a shotgun goes off. Something.
But not only make sure that you have permission from the people that own the building
Yes.
or the land or anything like that. Make sure that you have permission from the ghosts.
Yeah.
Because if you go into a place that is haunted and you don't have permission from that ghost to be there, that's when bad things start happening.
Absolutely. And be respectful. Respect is key in these things. Like I said, when I go ghost hunting, we don't smoke, we don't do drugs, we don't do anything while we're on property, because it is, this is their home, this is their final resting place, this is their asylum. You know what I mean? We're just here visiting, and maybe one day we become residents of that type of world. And I'll tell you this, there are plenty of people on my list that are going to get a haunting from me. So,
there's a lot of people that I will mess with, and there's a lot of people that I will haunt.
Oh, yeah. Ron's going to be number one.
Make it so he doesn't want to go into the basement at all.
Right? Maybe someday I will start up the stream and we'll go for a drive down Riverdale. That would kind of be cool. It'll have to be probably a later stream, but time that Lady Reaper is back on vacation. Also, not to plug anything, but in October, live once again from Darkness Con, but in Snake River, Idaho, at the Red Lion there. If you haven't checked them out yet, they're also on YouTube channel. Just got put up. The official Darkness Con is their tag. Go follow them over there. I want to thank everyone that we used their videos today. We appreciate you making them, putting your time and effort into them, allowing us to react to them. I want to thank our viewers. Do you have anything to say?
I just want to thank everybody for being here. I enjoy learning about the paranormal and experiencing the paranormal. I've had a lot of experience with the paranormal, a lot of experience with ghosts, spirit, all of that, obviously, as a medium. There are so many things that you need to learn if you do want to look into this. So educate yourself before you go just do something. You need to, there's certain things that you really need to do. But I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everybody for continuing your support. I want to thank my partner Asylum for doing most of the work because I was a little depressed the last couple of days to do anything. But you guys being here is what makes all of this worth it. So,
absolutely. And if you haven't followed our channels yet or became subscribers to our channel, please do so. I am on the road to monetization. As I do every single show, I like to give you guys a kind of update on what I am doing and how I'm doing my monetization. And I'm going to pull that up here before we say goodbye. We have 161 subscribers. We are at 266 qualified watch hours. So if you haven't yet to go watch our videos, put them on the background. Put them in the background as you're cleaning your house, especially something like this where you kind of listen to another video in the background. it would be absolutely amazing. I also want to say congratulations to Life with Ron, getting hosts over there in the LCU. Congratulations, my friend. I want to say congratulations to Simply Christina, also getting a host role over there in the LCU. Life with Ron is on Lolcow Hero, his old home away from home. And Simply Christina is on Lolcow Fire. They will be live this evening. I don't think Lolcow Fire will definitely be live. Thank you so much for being part of our crew. Now I have to go find out who's live before I leave you guys. So let me do that real quick. And before I do my ending here, we're actually going to send you over to Lolcow Fire. They're live right now. So if you haven't seen them yet,
dude,
what are we doing?
Stream
as a makeup girly, that shit.
People can hear that. I want to do that. You. I don't remember where that is. Oh, I think that's it.
Are you on mine or yours?
Yours. Papa dashboard. Maybe it's in the edit. Is it in the edits? Is it in the edit?
I can't remember.
Or is it in... I found it. I found it.
Okay.
Other channels. All right. That redirect is in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I also want to thank Angel for popping into our stream over on Beam. If you haven't yet, go see them over there. There's a great community over there and plenty of shows to watch. Watch my videos so I can watch hours over there because I want to beat the shit out of all these guys that do this podcast. I want to be number one by the end of August over there. On YouTube, if you haven't followed me yet or subscribed, please do so. Turn that bell on, like our streams, rewatch our streams, watch our shorts, all kinds of stuff like that. But I appreciate each and one of you because we truly believe over here it is not the quantity of our fans, it is the quality of our fans. And I appreciate each and one of you. Please take care of one another, but most importantly, take care of yourself, okay? Have a great night. See you on the flip side.
She tryna spin the narrative. She wanna act like I'm crazy. I got released from the asylum, so goddamn I got money. She tryna spin the narrative. She wanna act like I'm crazy. I got released from the asylum, so goddamn I got money. They said they sent the Reaper, so I sent mine. Except mine's a lady. Hey, Lady Reaper came to take your soul. Meetings went left, can't decide up on or go. She the type to come and show you how it's done. The content went from drama to the whole chat having fun. We ran up all these views up, she go get it done. Lady Reaper took you out the vibe and show you what's behold. Don't you dare try to walk outside, man, it's getting cold. From the fact that Asylum made it off the court. Lolcow, this the Lolcow Wonderland. Asylum and Lady Reaper came to turn up again. Check the clock, then check it again. Asylum come, you ain't standing a chance. Content, breaking in the dance. The mob said don't be afraid. I got options, but I'm here to stay. Mom said jump, don't be afraid. Hop off the porch, I'ma be mad. We came from the gutters in a wonderland. Asylum the man, don't you understand? Talk too fast and he take your hand. This the live stream where we take a stand. Two against y'all when we fight for fans. Middle finger up to the government. We hate the other side, so it's them who's gonna face the punishment. God won't judge us, but we'll judge her with his covenant. Had so many issues, I had a ton of it. She tryna spin a narrative. She wanna act like I'm crazy. I got released from the asylum, so goddamn I got money. She tryna spin a narrative. She wanna act like I'm crazy.